your 71-time U.S. national champion. She's been racing in California since she was 10 years old and has gone on to become the only American man or woman to have won the Ronde van Vlaanderen, the Tour of Flanders, out of Tustin, California, for Team Sunweb. This is Corinne Rivera. She is the world champion, an American Olympic champion, a silver medalist for the Rio Games for the 2020 Showwear team. This is Chloe Tigert. And now, looking to come back from her second place last year, fresh off wins at the Joe Martin stage race and the Tour of the Gila. She's from Saratoga, California, for the United Healthcare team. This is Katie Hall. And now another former champion of this event, also a U.S. national champion, fresh off a win in Yorkshire for the U.S. national team, and meet Californian Megan Gagne.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Yeah, this is Tyler Janke, Between Two Wheels podcast.
Hey.
Chris and Curt. Chris, how much? What do we have left in the women's race?
I'm not sure. They were at 16.1K to go, and it's been bumped up to 19.5K to go. So
So they're going the wrong way.
they made some wrong turn, or Curt pointed out there's a strong wind out here, so they might have been blown back a little.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for another edition, joining us on another edition of the Between Two Wheels podcast. We are coming to you live from the Tour of California, Stage 1 for the women, Stage 5 for the men, correct?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And how was your lunch?
Lunch was really good.
Yeah.
It was provided.
Media gets it all, right? Pretty
Yeah.
fancy?
Yeah.
Chris,
I had a candy bar.
Chris didn't have a gluten-free option, so he's a little angry, but
Hangry, right?
there you go.
Gich.
Snap into
Okay,
it.
so do you want to? We got Stage 1 here for the women. They're coming in. It's pan flat, Elk Grove. They head down. They went a little east, south, down to almost to Lodi. Turn back, and they're right. Well, that direction.
They went south. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I looked at the map. Lodi was the nearest thing around there.
Okay.
I didn't say they made it to there, and then they're coming back up to Elk Grove. What do you want to say about the city of Elk Grove? Welcomed us with open arms this morning. Hot breath on my neck.
I didn't think you were going to make it out of the city.
We did have a little police issue this morning. Maybe we'll get into that after the Tour of California is over.
Yeah, I mean, wind, I think we all thought wind would be a factor in Elk Grove. I don't think it's going to be as much of a factor. I think it's only like 7 to 9 miles per hour. As Chris mentioned, maybe it's picking up a little bit out there, but I don't think it's going to cause an issue in any of these races, right?
I don't think so. I mean, you saw the break today. With the men are 240 something up right now.
Yeah.
What is the women at, Chris?
Right now, it looks like there's one rider away, solo, 30-second gap. They're now at 17.5K to go. And when they make the churn away from the river back toward Elk Grove, they're going to be riding a pretty big tailwind.
Was that a time gap, though? Did you have a time gap?
30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds.
So
that's-
we're not talking much here.
So the wind isn't strong, but it's definitely picked up throughout the day here.
And we have, so it's going to be a sprinter day.
Yeah.
And it looks like Corn Rivera, we saw her. She's in the race, obviously a good sprinter. Emma White, there's several of them out there.
Chloe Dygert.
Yeah. We can see we're out here at the sprint finish. They had the last 350 barriered off, but it comes in pretty straight from, I would say, well beyond that.
Yeah.
The little turn there. But I looked at the map. I guess the last 2 miles they do a right-hand turn, and then they do another little left-hand turn coming into the finish. Got a little wind coming out here. And
It's
then
actually picking up
so
all of a sudden.
Yeah, so I don't think. I mean, I don't think those corners are going to cause. Let's say for the men's, even they're not going to cause you to miss the sprint. But if you're not up there, it might help you, I guess. I mean, if you are up there, it could help solidify your position a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so we came here today. We saw the announcements. All the women sign in. As the media, we got good access. Chris, you were taking some video and.
Yeah, no, we got to see Toll do an introduction of the different teams, a few select interviews, and kind of got to get some behind the scenes action, which was pretty cool. Some photos, some video, some audio. So good stuff.
Yeah, we'll try to capture maybe some more audio after. What do you?
I'm laughing because if you were here, you could have watched all the same stuff.
No.
But we actually
3
got to
feet
stand
behind us.
Right, yes. 3 feet further forward. When it wasn't like there was anybody who was pushing forward.
No, but they did check those credentials pretty tough, though.
If anything, we just had to dodge Dave Toll's, spittle a little.
Yeah, we were
a
up
little
close.
more often. Yeah,
It was like was that Gallagher where he's like banging the fruit,
smashing the
Yeah.
watermelons. Yeah.
Okay, how about a quick recap of what we have for the first 4 stages of this Tour of Amgen for the men? We have stage 1 was in Long Beach. Total sprint finish. Gaviria wins it, does some little elbows, argy-bargy with one of the action boys. I found that stage to be extremely boring. Anybody else?
I would agree. I think it's something that they probably could have had the same result if they, instead of 12 laps, did 4. Just give people an opportunity to see the course, get up to speed, sprint, done.
But it was like a down and back on the road. I mean, kind of like one side, then they're coming back on the other. It seemed pretty benign and boring, but that's what you have. Some, I guess every stage, a little different. You can't always have Gibraltar. So next day you have Gibraltar,
Right.
Big climb up to the finish, and Sky sets it on fire. Egan Bernal takes off with like 2K, I want to say, and TJ and Tollhook try to go with him and just don't quite handle it. So he looks very, very convincing in his win.
Yeah, who's the Sky guy that was just hammering tempo on the front there for a bulk of the climb? And he ended up shedding Paulus and quite a few others.
So Tao
Geoghegan, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked really strong.
Yeah, he did. And he gave a good shout out to, he's like, hey, I'm here riding, I'm with Sky, but I grew up, and developed with the action team. And he's like, I really want to give them a lot of credit for my development and where I'm at. And it's kind of cool to see that. And then he smashed a time trial yesterday as well.
Yeah, he passed McNulty.
Yes.
Who had a mechanical, or he had a flat or whatever it ended up being. But yeah, it was an impressive TT by Tao Geoghegan.
Yeah, McNulty had to change bikes in the middle of his TT, which Chris gives him credit for about 20 seconds slow down. But I think that at 19 years old, to have something like that happen on a downhill where you've got to stop your bike, lose all your momentum, get back on it, that probably cost him quite a bit of time. So
25 seconds, you think?
Well,
25
I kind of agree. I mean, there's a lot of things you're saying. Hey, different power meter, all the data.
No power meter.
No, yeah, or whatever. But he was on a descent, which is pretty tricky downhill, and he pulls over, gets a new bike. But Geoghegan passed him. It was several minutes after that on the flat. So, and he put in a good time. But I don't know that it's enough to have made a difference to the point where he's now contending for the overall to the same extent. I don't know.
He was in third place, right?
No, not Tao, but McNulty.
Okay, well, he's not contending for the overall.
No, but I mean,
to the same extent.
He's I'm saying if he hadn't have flatted, I still don't know that it would have been a difference of a minute.
We don't know.
Yeah, and obviously he wouldn't have.
I say no.
He wouldn't have been able to put the time that TJ put into that TT, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah, so we missed stage 3 was into Monterey, and it had some little punchy stuff. Tom Squeen stays away with Sean Bennett. He's in the action team as well, right?
Should give a shout out to the local boy Nielsen Paulus for 8th place at the time trial after a little bit of a rough stage 2 as well. That was a good bounce back for him.
And he made we wouldn't really call it a select group, but he made the reduced field into the finish at Laguna Seca. So that was, back-to-back Cat 3 climbs, which is no joke at the speeds they're going. So it was good to see him rebound as well as he did.
Yeah, it would be interesting to know. He was so promising, obviously, and he still is. But a few years ago on the Continental, where this is kind of the focus, and then he goes to the World Tour team, and I'm not belittling his talent or anything. I'm just saying it's a different focus. I heard Sepp Kuss talk about, he's like, all year it's just kind of feeling like I'm on the back heel. They've got different duties. They're out doing some of these, much bigger races with a lot of workload for them. It's not like they're the king of the hill in the Continental and they just prepare and are rested for this race either.
Yeah, well, actually, I think Chris and I were maybe talking about this a little bit with Nielsen in particular. So it was 2 years ago that he had that really good Gibraltar climb at the Tour of California. And then this is his first year, obviously, in the World Tour. Previously, he had been coming off a pretty big Continental race schedule where he had probably done Joe Martin, did Redlands, maybe did San Dimas or
Coffee Republic on Saturdays.
But he was coming into it, obviously, really, really fit, probably as fit as he's ever been, and was able to go out there and kill it. His race schedule this year hasn't been as heavy, and it's his first year on the World Tour, so it might be a little bit tougher for him to kind of figure out how to come into a race like this.
I totally agree. I mean, it's not the focus for him, so anyway, I already said that.
Yeah.
But and it's going to be a few years, and it also brings about kind of the impressiveness of Egan Bernal of being kind of in a similar situation, and yet being where he's at.
That is true.
Where is
that
he now?
kid is.
Well, he's
he's
not in first place, but
it's true.
I would
second place.
Is he in second?
You're going to take this wrong, but he's still ahead of Nilsson Palace, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's only. Let's get to the results here. So he's only, I think, I want to say my phone's messing up now. 30 some seconds.
He's like 25 seconds off the lead. 23 seconds.
23 seconds off the lead, which is going to
Those-
make tomorrow exceptionally exciting.
Right.
Maybe. I mean, I'm hoping. A lot of climbing. They've always said before that stage up there, it's not Gibraltar type of climbing, but it's going to 12,000, 14,000 feet or so of climbing. And so when you have Gegenhardt in third and Bernal in second, they can start firing salvos from two different people and make BMC have to chase. Who knows what's going to be able to.
Well, it's kind of interesting too, because you have to fire. Like if you're going to attack, you have to attack from a long ways out before that downhill into South Lake, right? So
Yeah.
You have to take some pretty big chances. It'll be interesting to see if Sky wants to do that. I hope they do.
Well, I imagine.
exciting.
I don't know why they wouldn't. They come here to win. Might as well. They have some young guys.
They're not going to make up time on Saturday, so they've got to go for it tomorrow.
I'm
No.
just wondering if you don't look at TJ a couple of times on the climb and say, okay, well, he looks good. Or maybe you throw a couple of attacks in. If he covers them, if you say, okay, well, we don't want to risk losing our 2 GC positions right now by going all in. So, well, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see strategically how that plays out.
I almost think that tomorrow is a better day for TJ than Gibraltar. Because the climbing's it's all day, it's a lot of sustained over and over, and that's his Tour de France type of stuff. We've seen him in Grand Tours do just fine on big long climbs.
And the
Comparably.
gradients
they're
aren't
not
extreme.
No,
Right.
they're not going up. What is it, Ponderosa or what's that really steep thing out there? we do?
For us.
Yeah.
Mosquito Ridge.
No. Yeah.
Is where's Tao in the overall right now?
Well, I believe he's third.
Is he third? Okay,
Yeah.
that's too bad.
Oh,
So you
okay.
could shoot him up in the break and then have Bernal try and bridge across that later and leave TJ behind.
Now this is saying TJ and then Bernal 23, Danny Martinez at 37, Tao Gegenhardt at 52. So maybe I was wrong about the standings there. Let's look at the overall leaders. Yeah, so 52 seconds. So he's in fourth place. Yates in fifth at 107. That starts to stretch it. So you don't want to let Tao get up the road with he's only 52 seconds behind. That could obviously happen. But you're saying you don't repeat what you just said about Sky and then.
Well, if Tao was like 10 minutes back, then he'd be able to get in the break because people wouldn't be worried. And then Bernal could potentially bridge across to him and they can work together to distance TJ. But with Tao being as close as he is, they're not going to let him go. And I don't know who Sky brought that is as strong as of a supporter as Tao.
Well, you say they might not let him go, but that's the whole thing. Then they have to watch him. So they have to mark him at some point.
Right.
Of getting up the road.
Yeah.
And then if they do, how much resources do they have to keep this in check for TJ?
Yeah. That's,
So it'll be fun. My point is, I was thinking after the Gibraltar that it was just done and dusted, and Bernal puts up a time trial like his national championships show that he should have been able to do.
The Colombian,
the
time
Colombian
trial national championships.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
a hotbed of
Right.
no.
Well, I don't think there was a ton of time trial talent
true.
in that field. But
It's like when the Schlecks used to always have their TT for Luxembourg or something like that.
Right,
Who's
yeah.
coming out of there?
exactly.
All right. So how much? What do we have left for
women
this
have
stage?
a little under 10K to go. It looks like 8K to go at this point. And they'll be coming in pretty quick to the finish.
We gotta go.
Okay, so let's go
Gotta
check
go.
that out, and then we'll see what we have afterwards.
Bye.
Okay, so now we're near the finish. They're yelling it up. I think there's a little bit left. We're right on the finish line. I can't see the field coming in yet because I'm kind of obscured, but I'll be able to see them coming across the line. Looking at Chris over there. He's got his camera. He's going to take some pictures. Curt has also got his ready to film. And then we have, looks like Kristen Armstrong. She's doing some live feed for the NBC studios. She's right next to us here. But we're not going to talk to her. Anyway, let's see what we can have. All right, they just said 2K to go. And women's is not being broadcast on the television, so it's hard to follow along other than hearing Dave Toll yelling about it, trying to see if he has a feed. I'm looking at him right here. 2K altogether. 2K altogether. All right, so a little behind the scenes here. Dave Toll is up there talking. He does not have a feed. So he has a whiteboard, and someone's just writing on it 2K altogether. That's the only thing he has to go on himself. But he's rattling it off pretty good. All right, they came by so fast I did not see the win. So we'll get the info up here a little later, but it was all together sprint finish. Everyone looks to be safe. Just saw Katie Compton, it looks like, go by. Some of these still struggling in. There's Ali Dragoo. I hope she got the same time. She's a little off the back. And still some others coming through as well. Must have been a really fast last 2K, blowing some of these ladies out with the field sprint. Others still coming through. 38, 39 seconds back. Looks like that's the finish. All right, so now I'm over with Chris and Curt. You got some pictures, Curt? Chris? Anything?
Yeah. What?
I'm recording.
Okay.
Did you see who came across? Did you get some good pictures?
I got some good pictures, but I don't know who the rider is. Looks like she's with Tibco. Yeah, they were saying Ryan last name.
Kendall Ryan.
Kendall Ryan. Okay. And you got some video?
I got some great video. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We actually didn't have the best view because of the banner, but we saw her come across the line. She seemed pretty happy.
Yeah, I was over here and I was gonna try to do Facebook Live real quick, and then I looked up and they were across the line, so that didn't work.
They said they got 1K to go, and then they were here like 10 seconds later.
That's a fast 1K. I'm impressed.
Looks like Rivera 5th, and then Rally coming in 2nd, and then one of the Canyon riders 3rd. I don't know who got 4th though.
Maybe Emma White was rally.
What's that?
Emma White maybe rally.
Could be, yeah, I'm not sure. White or Erica Lar, I'm not sure. Good finish though, fast.
Yeah. So looks good for the men. What do you think we're gonna? What?
I think Erica Aller would be probably the one that got the sprint there. I mean, she wins, I don't know, sprint series, all that southern stuff that they do.
All right. So the question is, what do we do for the men?
Who are we picking for the men?
Where are we gonna stand for the men? Is this a decent spot, or should we find a better spot?
We could probably find a better spot, but I don't know. I think we should probably go across the road. I think we might be able to see a little further down and maybe go beyond the banner.
Wait, so you're saying people without media credentials standing with them, they have a better spot than us?
I'm saying that, yeah, it's all in what you pay, I guess, to get out here. But yeah,
I got a free lunch, so I guess I understand. All right. All right, so we're waiting for the men to come in. I am recording this time. How far out are they, Chris? Okay. Okay, so they're coming in quick. We're at the start-finish line in the media area, and Curt just pointed something out. What did you observe, Curt?
I pointed out that they have to make a really sharp left-hand turn after they come across the sprint finish, and it could be a little bit dangerous for the guy who's winning and might have his hands in the air.
Yeah, because on the left side, too, is the camera's set up. They got media people. I know these guys are pros at this, but that's a hard left. They have no choice.
You can't go through the it'll be difficult if they don't make the left turn.
And it's like 50 meters, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, maybe 75, just to argue.
All right, well, so hopefully no carnage there. We just saw out on the road Cavendish. It looked like he flatted. I don't know if there's a wreck or something, but he's trying to get back in. So we'll see what happens after that. You have any other comments before this?
Looks like Cavendish right now might be able to make it back.
Because he's second on the back of the tailpipe of the car. What do you think, Chris?
I don't think he's got a shot. It's going to get fast, and it's going to take a big effort to get back across.
Yeah, it's kind of nasty. All right, we'll see. All right, they're coming into the finish here. Ewan's hitting the front with Gaviria. Look like he's just walking away with this. Holy smokes.
I mean, we just kind of let them dangle out there for a little bit, and teams were like, this is not what we want. We wanted to come down to a sprint. Lots of teams came with really, really intense sprinters, and I just was happy to be amongst them. And I mean, in the last K and a half, our plan was to rush the field and come up on the right side. And my teammates and I, we were drag racing the wiggle train, and they just dropped me off in the scrum of the sprint, and I just kind of fished my way through everyone and popped out at the right moment.
So the wind, it was coming in the last section. It was coming from your left, I imagine. So you said you were situated. What other teams were really working hard to try to make sure this came down to a sprint?
Yeah, Sunweb was, pretty motivated to lead out Corinne. My sister's team, Canyon SRAM, they were motivated to sprint for her. Yeah, I mean, almost every team in the peloton wanted to come down to a sprint, and I think there was really only like 2 or 3 teams that were looking to get someone up the road. So, yeah, I think the majority of everyone favored the sprint, and I'm just really happy it came down to that and that I could get the opportunity to sprint.
So it looks like to me on the map, about the last 2 miles, there was a right-hander and then a left-hander before the last 350 or so. Did any of that cause any issue, or did it help you move into the right position?
It actually helped us move into the right position. Our goal was to be on the inside for the right-hand turn, and then be able to swing wide on the left-hand turn on the right, and just stay tucked out of the wind. And I mean, my teammates just put me in this perfect spot, and I was able to just pop out at the right moment. I don't even know what happened. I'm pretty sure I blacked out. So
I want to talk about the sprint, but that's good recon. Was that Ed, your manager, or how did that come about? And do you think other teams were thinking that far ahead as to which corners to come out on what side?
Yeah, I mean, we were like, okay, well, before the race, we're gonna go pre-ride the finish and just kind of see how it plays out and what would be the ideal scenario for us. And that was our game plan, and we stuck to it. And I was just super happy that my teammates never gave up, and they just executed the plan perfectly.
That's great. So where did you hit the front at? How far from the finish? Do you know?
I think I went early, right as Emma White went. I saw her go early, and everyone hadn't started their sprint yet, probably, I don't know, 300 meters to go or so. And I just got into her slipstream and just was able to pop around her.
So you said you did not expect this, and why not?
I mean, there's teams here that these girls have been on form all year, and I've been waiting for my win, and I didn't expect come into this race and just immediately coming through with the win. I thought I would maybe have a shot on Saturday, but just this has really blown my confidence out of proportion. I'm just so happy that I was able to make this happen.
Now, one of my podcast hosts had been stalking you a little bit, and he said you had some QOMs up in Grass Valley. What's up with that?
I don't think they're uphill. I think they're the descents, because I like to shred the descents, and that's my jam. So sprinting and descending, I'm hunting those QOMs. I love it.
So tomorrow, is that a day for you to just kind of enjoy the yellow jersey and see how the race plays out, or you have a different role?
Yeah, tomorrow will be, a day that I'll always remember, to be able to wear the yellow jersey in a race. That's the first time for me, and I'm just gonna absolutely dig myself into a hole and stay there for my teammates as long as I can, and let them unleash on the climbs.
So the men's race is just finished. You're still hanging around here, obviously just enjoying the jersey as much as possible. Is that the plan? Just kind of hang around and soak it up?
Yeah, I just got finished with interviews and anti-doping, and yeah, just to be able to be a part of the live feed and be on live television and show the women are badass too. So
No, it was a great race today, and congratulations. Thanks again for talking to us.
thank you.
Thanks. I'm with Ed Beamon, right?
That's right.
You're managing now the women's Tibco team, and you obviously had a winner today. Congratulations.
Thanks so much, Tyler.
She described coming into the finish and how your team was setting up due to the wind on the corners. Was that due to your knowledge and kind of your preparation?
Yeah, well, we got up here early, especially so we could take a good look at the finish. And the girls got out and rode the last 4K a couple of times, and then we got back together and talked it through and kind of broke it down. Really good on the bike management by Allison Jackson, who is Kendall's lead out in this, and then we talked all the way through the last 5K, and we've really felt that if we could get Kendall a view of the line, that she's got the speed to bring it, and today the girls just did a tremendous job of putting her in place.
She made it sound that she wasn't so confident coming into this. Obviously, you had the gumption and the ability or the confidence in her. Well done. But what is that? Does she just need a few more wins like this to get that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a win like this will give you confidence in a hurry. Sprinting is a confidence game, and I think in some cases maybe Kendall hasn't had as much belief, but it's also a function of getting the team together and getting the right kind of lead out and preparation coming to the line. And as a newer team, we've had to dial that in a little bit. And so we've had some near misses, but each of those near misses is a learning experience. And I think today they did a great job of putting it together.
Yeah, well, definitely. So what about your involvement? How long have you just have joined the team this year? Is that correct? Or 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2014 was my first year with Tibco. Tibco is been around since 2007, I believe. Linda Jackson is the founder of the team, but so this will be basically my fourth season with the team. And
My apologies.
yeah, no worries.
So you have a storied career in cycling as far as managing goes, way back to the Navigators days, right? Did it start back earlier than that?
Yeah, from a management perspective, it started with Navigators, and that was in '94. So yeah, been around a while.
Yeah, I used to race and saw you out there and about, so good for you. When did that end, and what was your gap between Navigators and whatever it was from there to Hill?
Yeah, towards the end of Navigators, we also had a women's team that was sponsored by Lipton Tea. So that was my first kind of experience working with women. Kristen Armstrong was on that team. From when Navigators ended in 2007, and then we went on to do something with the startup of Team Type 1, and then work with the Australia, Pure Black, and then finally a few years ago did the Champion System team, which was a Chinese registered pro-continental team. And as that team ended, I found this opportunity to work with Linda and the Tibco-Silicon Valley Bank team, and I'm pretty happy here.
What's the biggest difference between working with men and the women? Or is this okay?
Geez, if you have to ask that question, dude, there's an education involved. No, seriously.
I appreciate it.
For me, one of the really exciting things about women's cycling is the hunger to learn and the need to learn. Because a lot of the women, especially in North America, they get involved in the sport coming from other sports. So Kendall's kind of a rare commodity in that she's been racing since she was 8 or 9 years old. So there's a from a management perspective, there's a real tangible reward system to watching these girls develop and become mature athletes. The other thing is the Women's World Tour right now is like really on fire, and I think it's a really hot spot in the sport right now, and it's really fun to be a part of it.
Last question: what's your plan after after Tour of California? What do you guys have coming up in kind of the end of the season?
Yeah, well, we head back to the East Coast. There's the Winston-Salem race, and then Gatineau, which is a women's only event in Canada, and then national championships. And then we take a small break, and then we head back to the continent. We'll spend most of the rest of the season in Europe.
Okay, good luck to you guys, and I really appreciate you talking to me today.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, so we when we left off, there was a pretty mad dash going into the finish of the race. I think we had just found out that Cavendish had picked up a flat tire and was fighting his way back in through the caravan of cars. We're on our drive back home at this point, so the race is done and dusted, but we'll kind of give you some quick updates on what had happened. So Cav was able to kind of use some of the caravan to roll back into the group. With about 8K to go, Caleb Ewan got a flat tire. Based on the results, he was able to get his way back into the group. With about 4K to go, Marcel Kittle got a flat. He did not make it back in. Just after that, there was a pretty big crash that took out quite a bit of the field. And through all that, the peloton was able to chase in the 3 remaining riders that were out front and came down to a sprint finish. Quick Steps, Fernando Gaviria took the win with Caleb Ewan coming in second and Peter Sagan coming in third. So through all that, TJ maintains the yellow jersey. With second place, Caleb Ewan takes over the points jersey from Egan Bernal. And I don't think there was any change in the mountain jersey. I think Egan Bernal still has that. So pretty exciting finish. We were able to kind of get a good vantage of it there. And yeah, it's unfortunate that we did not get to see Cav or Kittle really mix into the sprint. But hopefully that won't be the case on Saturday. So now they're making their way up to Folsom for a pretty hefty climbing day tomorrow. And we were in the press conference afterward, and it sounds like TJ is pretty happy with where he's at. He said he's not all that concerned about Sky's Tao Gegenhardt, and he's got confidence in his team to keep him in the yellow jersey through tomorrow. So, any thoughts from Curt on how the day shook out?
No, I'm sorry, guys. I'm scared.
Here, you hold it. Okay, I got a few thoughts. It looks like Gegenhardt lost a bit of time. They gave him a 23-second loss on the day. Also, on that wreck, some action kid was holding his wrist like it had been severed or something. It was a little bit more than just, I've got it hurt. I mean, right?
Yeah, it definitely didn't look like a routine crash where he was just kind of bruised up. I mean, it was something where it looked like there may have been some kind of compound fracture or bone sticking out. Hopefully he's okay. The imagery was a little difficult to see because we were looking at a big screen at the finish line.
Yeah. What was the most unique thing you saw today? Anything Euro?
Anything Euro? I wouldn't necessarily say the most unique thing that I saw was Euro, but it was interesting seeing Bob Roll and Jens Voigt huddled around like a 15-inch computer monitor sheltered by cardboard to watch the men's race unfold. So you think that they would have something a little more high-tech for the guys than that. How about yourself?
Yeah, well, it was nice cardboard, and it said on their Jens TV.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah. Yeah, I stood right behind them. But I got a good spot in there, and I did try to, you guys know this, I tried to talk to Bob after the race because I was like, hey, it's the 30th anniversary of Andy Hampson winning the Giro, and I just wanted to talk to him. And he said he had some things to do, so I got his email, and we'll connect at some point. But other than that, oh, there's Jens right there. He's getting gas. He looks lost.
How about you, Curt? What was one of the more interesting things you saw?
Yeah, like you said, it was interesting to see behind the scenes how little they had to work with, especially the media crew. I mean, they didn't have much equipment or much better stuff than like we had, for example. Almost the same information sources, it seemed.
So when we're back there, and the live announcers, it's Dave Toll and Brad Sonner, and they're doing the announcing. And I was videoing them at one point. I'm showing them, and then I going down to Bob and Jens looking at this little TV, and then back up to these two guys who are looking at the big screen. And they're announcing. They were going crazy. I mean, they were like red-faced. Not Bob and Jens, but Brad and Dave Toll. Red-faced, yelling, going, and then Dave's like just talking really fast, and he like elbows Brad. Then Brad takes over. It was a good show.
That's good to hear. They're still enjoying it at this many editions of the race. But I think the other thing that was cool to see is just how efficient the crew is at getting things put together, ushering the race along, getting the podiums done, and it just seemed really smooth, which was good to see.
Yeah. So we talked to the winner of the women's race, Kendall Ryan. I also talked to her manager, and we'll put that in this episode as well. But pretty exciting for her. She did not seem to be expecting this necessarily, but I think the team did. And anyway, it'll be. She doesn't expect to hold on to it tomorrow, but it'll be interesting for all of them tomorrow. Anything else?
That's all I've got. Yeah. Obviously, it's going to be a tough race for her tomorrow. It's not really something geared for a sprinter like she is. So it sounded like she was just gung-ho to try and support her teammate and keep the jersey in the team in some capacity. So,
Right, so
should make for a good day.
what do we have tomorrow? Overview of the stage.
Starts in Folsom, ends in Tahoe, climbs a lot. I think they go Folsom through Placerville, up and over Emigrant Gap, around Kirkwood, down actually into Nevada, and then up Kingsburg Grade over to South Lake Tahoe. And I think they're going to be ultimately finishing on the kind of same ski run kicker finish that they've done in the past. So a lot of climbing, nothing, no Gibraltar style climbs, just a lot of really long 5-ish% grades across many miles. So not something where you would expect to see somebody make a blistering attack, but you never know how that'll play out.
And you know about the women, their race?
I know they're doing a Tahoe loop, not around Lake Tahoe itself, but yeah, it looks like they're going to kind of leave South Lake, go up and over the Highway 89 summit, do kind of a loop to the southeast of Lake Tahoe, come up Daggett Summit back into South Lake Tahoe, same finish as the men. So looks like they got a Cat 2, a Cat 1, and a Cat 3 climb throughout the day with a sprint option in there. So should be a tough day, and should be obviously the deciding day for the yellow jersey.
What are some facts that you know of for Folsom besides the prison?
Besides the prison, there's a lake there. It's a gold boom town. I think it dates back to the 1850s. It's growing in size every year, it seems. So it's becoming more and more diverse in terms of what you can do out there. There's a lot of outdoor activity. It's just a fun place to be. And they're actually going to be starting the race at the rodeo ground. So there's an annual rodeo in Folsom. So even though they've got all the new development out there, they've got some old-timey charm.
So today was Stockton to Elk Grove. I looked them both up. They're not in the most dangerous and or the worst place to live in California. So you got that going for you. Nickname Mudville, Tuliburg. So long, Mudville.
Hardly knew you.